Hi.
Hello, Taku.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
What's up?
Nothing much. Well, I was just chilling. How about you?
You were just what?
I was just chilling. I was relaxing.
Oh, yeah. Chilling.
Yeah,
I think try to find the L sound a little bit more. Chilling.
chilling.
Yeah, there you go. That sounds a little bit better. Yeah. Chilling.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you. Chilling. Yeah, I was chillaxing.
Chillaxing. That's another. Yes, exactly. You find where do you get your phrases from? You've got some good natural, sounding English phrases.
Well, I've done a lot of things. Like I frequently watch YouTube videos, and in the past, I was using a textbook, and I learned grammar, and I was also using like a vocabulary book. So there are so many ways to learn English. And recently, I've been also, using HelloTalk. Have you ever heard of the application
I
HelloTalk?
don't I don't think so.
It's a language exchange application where you can interact with people from all over the world. So you can, interact with them for free there. So I think the application is very useful. But anyway, you can talk
Yeah.
with many people for free.
Interesting. Sounds cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sounds cool.
Yeah, because I was very surprised to hear you say chillax. Chillaxing.
Chillaxing. I think, is it a slang?
Yeah,
Chillax.
yeah, definitely. Yeah. Just
Yeah, I think so
chill and
too.
relax. Yeah, chillax.
Chillax. It sounds interesting. I don't know
Yeah.
where I got the slang though. I don't remember. I just, knew the slang for some reason.
Right. Yeah,
Um,
that's nice.
Interesting.
Yes. Did you have anything you wanted to talk about today?
Yes. Today I want to talk about English which sounds unnatural to native English speakers. Here in Japan, English is a mandatory subject, so people have to study English for about, I think, 6 years now. And I studied English when I was in junior high school and, in high school, but I saw some unnatural sentences, so I tried to talk about that. Actually, I prepared some sentences, so let's take a look.
Yeah. I feel like
Okay,
this is gonna be fun. Okay.
yeah, you lived in Japan for, I don't know, 3 years?
3.5, about 3.5, yeah.
Three and a
Yeah.
half years. So
Yeah.
I think some of them might have said, "Why did you come to Japan?
Yeah.
Why did you come to Japan?" I think this sentence sounds a bit weird because, I think the sentence sounds kind of rude. You know what I mean, right? Why
Oh,
did you
yeah.
think there are better sentences such as "What brings you to Japan?" or "What brought you to Japan?" So what do you think about the sentence? Why did you come to Japan?
Oh, yeah. I know what you mean. I think it depends on the way they say it. If a Japanese person said that to me, I wouldn't think it was rude because I would know that that's how they know to ask it. But if someone else said that to me, and especially if they said it like this, for example, if they were like, "Why did you come to Japan?" The way you say it, I think, affects whether it sounds rude or not, right? Like if they say like, "Oh, why did you come to Japan?" Like it sounds like nice and pleasant, like their tone is raising up. But if it's like, "Why did you come to Japan?" Like why are you here? Like that, yeah, that sounds, yeah. But in general, I'd agree with you. I think the more natural way to say that is what brought you to Japan or what brings you to Japan.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you so much for
Uh-huh.
explaining.
Of
But
course.
yeah, tone is important. Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to the next one. The next one is, do you understand? I think this sentence sounds authoritative, right? Do you
A little
understand?
bit. Do you
I
understand?
think Japanese people might use this sentence instead of saying, "Does that make sense?" or "Does it make sense?" Because word for word translation of "Do you understand?" is 理解しますか or 理解しましたか. I think you understand what these sentences mean. 理
Right.
解しました. So I think some Japanese people might say, "Do you understand?"
Right.
So what do you think about this sentence? Do you understand?
Yeah. That's another one where I think it sounds fine, but I think, yeah, does that make sense? Sounds a little bit more natural, usually, to say, like,
Yeah.
does that make sense? I tutor here and I also teach dance a lot, and I use that phrase all the time. Like, does that make sense? I'm trying to think if I often find myself saying, "Do you understand? Do you understand?" Yeah, I feel like I don't say that very often. I feel like I say more often, "Does that make sense?" Or is like, "Does that make sense?" Or is like, Are we good? Sometimes I'll say that. I'll say like, are we good? Like, are we good? Ii desu ka? Like sort of like, do you understand? Does that make sense? Are we good? It's usually more when I'm speaking to a group of people, but yeah.
Okay, interesting. When I take a lesson on Cambly, my tutors often say, does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a very common one.
Yeah, that's a common one. I think that some tutors say, if that makes sense, if that makes sense. As well.
Yeah, if that makes sense, yeah.
If that makes sense. But
Yeah.
I think there's a slight difference between does that make sense and if that makes sense, right?
I feel like I don't say if that makes sense very often. Well, I mean like by itself. If it were me, I would say you could try using this phrase if that makes sense to you. I mean, because if you say if that makes sense, you could kind of just say at the end of the sentence as well. If that makes sense. I don't know. I find myself saying does that make sense more. But yeah, I can see if that makes sense as well, using that as well.
One of my favorite tutors often says, if that makes sense, after she explains something. If that makes sense, that's why I asked you this question. But anyway, thank you so much.
Yeah.
The next sentence is, what's your hobby? Do you think this sentence sounds natural?
I think it sounds more natural to say, do you have any hobbies? Like, do you have a hobby or do you have any hobbies? Or the other one I think is just to say like, what are you into? Or like, what kind of things are you into? What do you do in your free time? Again, I don't think what's your hobby? I don't think that sounds super unnatural, but I think it's a little bit more natural to say, do you have any hobbies or do you have a hobby? Because then it's more of like, I don't know. When you say what's your hobby, it just kind of is assuming that they even have a hobby. Some people, maybe are just too busy with work and other things to even really have much of a hobby. I guess everyone probably has hobbies, but I don't know. But it sounds less assuming. Like it sounds more natural to me, I think, to say, do you have any hobbies? Or what are you into? What do you enjoy doing in your free time? What do you do in your free time, for example?
That's what I would say too. I would say, for example, like, what do you do for fun? Or what do you like to do in your free time? So I wouldn't say, what's your hobby personally? I agree. Okay. Anyway, thank you so much.
Yeah.
The next one is, how are you? In my opinion, I think how are you sounds kind of formal. I wouldn't, I said how are you earlier, but I feel like this sentence is not really used when you talk with your friends. When I talk with my friends, I would say like, what's up? Or how's it going? And these sentences. So what do you think about how are you? I've heard that some Japanese people say that how are you sounds a bit weird. For some reason, I don't think it's weird though, but some people think that way. So what do you think?
I agree. It sounds more natural usually to say, how's it going? Or what's up? I think how's it going and what's up seem a little bit more surface level. But if you really are interested in like, if you want to try to get deeper, like you're really interested in how they are, you might say like, how are you? Or how have you been? Or how have you been lately? I think. When I'm honestly curious about checking in with my friends, I will usually say, how have you been lately? Or like, sometimes I'll also just say, how's it going? But yeah, but if I definitely am like really curious, like I'll probably say, how have you been lately? Because that seems to be a bit deeper of a question. Whereas like, what's up and how's it going are very often used as just sort of like a greeting, right? Like it's just like, oh, hey, how's it going? And then, oh, good, how are you? Oh, good. But if I say like, how have you been lately? I think that implies that I want to know more. Like, what have you been doing lately? Or like, how have you been feeling lately? Like, which is similar to saying, how are you? But yeah, I think it's among friends, it sounds more natural to say like, how have you been? Or how have you been lately? That's my opinion.
If you say, how have you been? You're interested in the person. You want to know more about that person.
Right. I think so, yeah.
Thank you so much. There's another question. I think we have enough time, 1 minute left. So the response to how are you, some people might say, I'm fine, thank you. Andrew, when they respond to how are you, do you think this response sounds weird?
Yeah, it sounds a little bit more like formal or textbooky. I think nowadays most people just say, oh, I'm good. How about you? I'm good. How about you?
That's what I would say too. I'm good. How about you? Or are you? Good.
Yeah.
What about you? I would say these things.
Right.
Time is running out. Thank you so much for reserving my lesson
today.
Of
course. No problem. I'm glad we could do that. It was fun.
It was fun. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Taku. I'll see you Tuesday.
Yeah, see you on Tuesday. Thank you.
Yep, take care.
Take care.